record this. So some of the peeps that, oh, hi, Mary Garner. How are you?
Good morning.
How are you?
Very excited about this.
I know, right? All right, so I want to basically hit record, yeah. So I wanted Danae and Izzy, I wanted you guys to introduce yourself, give us a little context of who you are, what you're about, what brokerage you're at, what team, and all that good stuff. To kick us off, so we wanted to talk about success stories, and honestly, I've been doing these type of panels for like probably 10 years, I feel like, and most of the time I'll take a real estate agent that's been in the business for like 15, 20 years, and they tell us all these amazing, like what I call legacy stories about their career. I love this fresh approach because you guys are fairly newer in the business, but you guys are killing it. You guys are doing so well. So congratulations on your success. So a lot of the success story conversation we're having today is kind of a fresh, different perspective on how the market's doing, and what you guys predict and think what's going to happen and how you guys are going to tackle it. Okay, so that's just want to give the context of the lens of things. So Janae, will you give us a little update on who you are, production, where you work, all that good stuff, and then Izzy, you can go next after that.
Sure. So I'm Danae Dobler. I am with United Real Estate on a team, the Lemus Group.
How long have you been on that team? I don't know if
I have been on the team since December.
Okay, good.
Like I said, I've been with United Real Estate. So what my career's been like is I had 7 years of property management from 18 on, and then the last 7 years I've been doing real estate. With the first 3 years, I was just working hand in hand with the brokers. And then the last 4 years, or I had 3.5 years of on my own. And then this last 6 months, I've been on a team. It's been probably 7.5 months now that I've been on a team.
Can I ask you why you decided to go on a team? Like, was that like, hey, I want to go on a team, or was that?
Yeah, so for me, I did well for a new person when I first got my license, my first 2 years, and then kind of COVID messed me up a little bit, and I didn't really know what to do, but I had been watching Diana, and I had watched her progress because I did work in the office. So I knew that when she kind of opened up to join a team, I knew that whatever she was doing was really working.
Right.
So as far as
Diana Lemus, right? Diana Lemus.
Diana Lemus, yes. So I saw her, in the office crying and being like, feeling like, oh my gosh, like I'm working so hard, to everything coming into fruition. So obviously something's working for her. So it's kind of like having a new mentor, not changing brokerages, but having a new mentor. So since I've been with her, or since 2022, I have 24 sold, 4 pending. I have 4 active, and then I have 1 commercial that's in auction. So it will be auctioned within the next couple of weeks.
And that's just 6 months into the year. You're halfway through the year, and you've already got 24 under your belt, plus a pipeline of a lot of different deals rolling, right?
Yeah, so I have, like I said, I have those 4 pending, 4 active, 1 commercial, but then I do have probably 7 that are being gutted and worked on right now that I've already kind of told my clients how I want things to be laid out and stuff. And so I'm just waiting for those listings to come down the pipe.
Yeah. And, the average realtor sells like 6 or 7 houses a year. You're selling 24 in 6 months. And so I think that just shows, number one, how hard you're freaking working, because that's not easy to live a regular life with other responsibilities. And oh, by the way, take care of all those transactions. So congratulations on that. So do you think that, we're not talking about teams, but I do think it's interesting. Like, you think that shifted the way your production was, like, because you've done solo for a while and then you went on a team. Did you feel like there's just something clicked and you're like, that's helped you get to this point in production?
I absolutely think that what has happened is all my experience, it's almost like all the dots, I finally have connected all the dots. And I think that those connecting the dots has come from proper mentorship, which is obviously comes from you and from my team. But also another thing is education. Like education has been huge for me. The real thing, to be honest with you, that has really shifted me was reading that book, The Compound Effect.
Yeah,
It
it's
just-
a great book.
I already had the work ethic within me, and I already had the guidance, you know, the mentor and you know, the guidance from you guys. It was just kind of that reading that book, because I went through my numbers, and so the first 3 months of the year, I only sold 3. I read the book between February and March. After that is when I've gotten the rest of my production. So the
Dang,
first,
we need to
so
go
in
back to
3
that book.
months, in
Well-
3 months, I did 21 transactions.
Yeah. And you needed a vacation. And you did. You went on a vacation. That's good.
Yeah. And I'm planning on going on another, so.
Perfect. You need to do that. You need that recharge. So, Izzy, give us an update on how you're rolling and what you're doing in your world as well. Thank you today. That was amazing.
So I'm Izzy. So basically I just got licensed in 2021.
Yeah.
So I'm like John Finn would say, you're going on your second year, right?
Yeah.
So I just had my anniversary in June. But I mean, this year I've done good, I feel like. So I joined the brokerage in June with United Real Estate. And I tried to do it on my own. You know, I was like, I can do this. I don't need, you know, a team or whatnot. Because
Yeah.
I looked into the teams and stuff, and like, you know, a lot of people were like saying negative things about that. So I kind of was scared to even join a team.
Right.
So
I hear that
so
a lot.
then yeah. So when in August I had my first transaction, which was my mom's. And then after that I was
How did that go?
pending.
She's not watching. How did that go?
It was horrible.
Yeah. I've done
Yeah.
the mom transactions before. I will refer those out forever now.
Yeah.
But hey,
Just
that's good to
mental.
jump in the deep end of the pool with your mom.
Yeah.
It's great. It's perfect.
Yeah. She made me cry a few times, but
Yeah.
you know.
They do that. They do that. They're mean, but
It
they
was
love
a
you.
learning experience, yes, for sure. But then all right, so then after that I didn't have anything until like end of September, beginning of October. I had one transaction that was pending.
You had a job though, right? Did you have you still worked at another job?
At that point, I not yet.
Gotcha.
So when I had this transaction fall through, I was
Freaking
you know,
out.
I was like, oh my gosh, this is not good. Like, why would this happen to me? So then I decided to just look for a job.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
You were the tip that has happened so many times in real estate. So I hear that.
Yeah. So, well, you know, as a new agent, I was disappointed that, you know, my second transaction was falling through. I did have active buyers that were looking, but they were so
That market was
picky.
crazy too back then.
Every offer that we were putting in, it was just nothing. Nothing was, you know,
Yes.
going.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we were losing all of them, but so it depended on pretty much the type of client that you had. So this was more of a client that wanted a house over 400,000, and then I had clients that were like 200,000, but with the 200s, that's where the competition was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
it
nothing
was
more
ridiculous.
frustrating than number one, you need to help this buyer find their house, but you also see that money sitting on a shelf that you can't get to. And you still got
Mhm.
bills to pay, and you still got all that stuff. And you're like, I got $6,000, monetize it however you want, but there's $6,000 I can't get to because they're in my pipeline. I got the leads, I've converted them, but now I can't get a house for them, which leads to closing. So that definitely leads to like a mindset of I gotta get a job because I got cell phone bill to pay. So I get
Right. So then I decided to get a job at a plumbing company. Well, actually I got 2 jobs before. I started working for CarMax, but it was a work from home and I couldn't do it. It was just driving me crazy.
right.
And then I went to a plumbing company, and I was basically their service coordinator. So then that was in like October. So like December, in December, I reconnected with Diana at one of our, what was that event?
Oh,
The year planning one, the end of the year one. So I was there and I, was talking to her, and I was actually talking to one of the agents that were under her team as well. And she was telling me that she was doing great and she was very motivated and inspired by Diana Lemus. So that's when, I was like, I might as well join the team if that's what it's going to take to be successful and actually, go be someone in this career. Then I'm willing to take the sacrifice.
Can I ask,
So
do you think it's because, did you think it was going to be easier and it just was harder than you thought to get that momentum going? That because you were that solo entrepreneur, like I can do this by myself, and then you reach December and you're like, well, crap,
yeah.
I got nothing to lose because I can't get the momentum. Is that, did you feel like it was going to be easier? I mean, being honest, or did you, because you're skilled, you're talented, you're articulate, like, you know what you're doing, but you couldn't get over that kind of hump. Did you think that was going to be that hard?
Like what was going to be that hard, to
Like
be honest?
to be able to build momentum in your business, because you had 2 transactions, which first one was made you cry, second one fell through. There's a lot of agents that would be like, to hell with this. I'm not doing real estate. So
yeah. Well, see, what happened was, like, there was a few, like 3 in 1 week, I lost 3 buyers to other agents. So, and then prior to me getting the job and joining the team, I was just, it was hard to get that momentum. It hadn't, I didn't have that inspiration and motivation that I needed. So I come from a corporate world. And so basically I'm just used to being physically somewhere working. So that's why, too, that was hard for me to get a stay-at-home job.
right.
So when I joined the team, Diana was like pushing me that I needed to come to the office, that I needed to be in the meetings. And so I did what I could, but then in February, March, I decided, I was like, I might as well just go full time and just jump right in. I had 1 transaction in January. And then I had another one in February. So then that's when, and then I had another one that was supposed to happen at the end of February that I was counting on. And then that one fell through as well. So, and then after when I quit my job, I was so scared.
Yeah.
because it's a scary thing to do. Right. So I was very scared and nervous. I think. And then also when I started coming here full time, I just took this job like it was my full-time job.
Like
I
your
was here.
job. You created a routine. Yeah.
Yes. So coming here to this office, it just, it's just very motivating, because you have Diana there pushing you. Are you making calls? You have Rudy, her son, also, are you tracking? And so you have accountability.
Meeting with you every couple of weeks, like, what the hell are y'all doing? So yeah.
Yeah, and Drew as well, but one thing too that really did help me was, when Danae told us to read that book, the Compound book. I didn't read the book, but I did listen to the audio, and it's definitely mind changing and mind, blowing, because it's like
I read a lot of books. I need to read. I have not read that book. I
listened to it on Audible too.
I literally have books, but I need that book. So I will go buy that, Amazon myself that book today. So that's amazing.
If you get it on Audible, it's for free.
Oh, good. I love listening to stuff like that in the car too. So Izzy, where are you at production wise halfway through the year? So you literally through this whole like emotional like roller coaster, no income, deals falling through, joining a team, like all of that is crazy. Sounds like you've been in the business 20 years, but not even 2. So how are you landing halfway into 2022? Like, what's your mindset? What's your production? Where you think? How do you feel? You've kind of survived that trial period for everything.
Yeah, well, I feel like it is very important that when something isn't working out for you, you have to do a change. You have to see where it's not working out. and you have to do the changes that are necessary to do it. Sometimes you might not like it because, you know, being in a team, you're like, oh, I don't want to share my commission. But at the same time, it's like, it's a good thing because you're learning. It's a learning experience. Right now, I've sold 11 transactions. I have 2 pending. I have 1 active, and I have 3 coming. 3 that are, you know,
Literally,
gutted
that
and
was,
coming.
you said the timeline, that was March, April. So April, May,
Mhm.
June, July. So that's like in 4 months. So you literally went from basically similar to Danae's story at the beginning of first quarter, kind of just squeaking along, kind of figuring it out.
Mhm.
Then you get second quarter rolling into third quarter and you are just rolling, right? So I think
Right.
that also just should hopefully inspires people, like if you're stuck right now, you can change your income in 3 to 4 months. Like you really can. So if you're
Mhm.
stuck like Danae or you guys were in January, February, March, so on 1 or 2 or 3, and then you go to 21 or you go to 11 in such a
Mhm.
small window, that's huge. You really kicked it into gear. You put your foot on the gas pedal and said, to hell with this, we're gonna make this work. So
Right.
and again, the reason why I love chatting with you guys is because there's a lot of real estate agents that have been in this business 20 years and they're freaking the hell out. They're freaking out because they've had a good base of business and then suddenly these leads are starting to shrink and the market's moving a little bit and they're feeling like they're almost like you guys were when you were trying to get yourself started. They almost feel like they're starting over like a brand new agent. So I think that's inspiring that you guys are doing that. It's huge. So well, so I wanted to ask you, like, what do you think the market has shown us in the last 6 months? So Danae, maybe, so, you know, we see in the last 30 days, markets moving a little bit, but let's go backwards a little bit in the past. What do you think the market was showing us in January, February, March, like at the beginning of the year? What do you think that what was your filter? What was your lens of what the market was going on 6 months ago, 4 months ago?
So obviously, we were all kind of aware that the interest rates were about to change. And I think that the market's always been unpredictable to a certain extent, but
Yep.
the last 2 years has been completely different than I think any of us have ever experienced. I'm not to say any of us, I'm saying me watching over the last 10 years or 7 years, you know, I haven't seen anybody ever talk about it like quite like this, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I
So,
agree. 20-year agents are like, oh, I've been through these cycles 2 or 3 times. Wait, but this
mhm.
cycle is not the same as the last 2 cycles, especially like recession, 2008. Like you compare, and people do a lot of videos. This cycle is nothing like what that cycle was. So I agree. I think 7 years, 10 years in the business, yeah, you're seeing a filter like, oh shit, this is changing, but it's not the way that it used to do the last 2 or 3 cycles. Does that make
Right. And you know, I think that it took a lot of people aback. I think that people didn't know what to do. And I think that people were very like, especially agents that have been in the business a long time, they're like, wait, this isn't how it's supposed to be. This isn't how it's
Right.
supposed to go. And you know, for me, it just made me realize we always knew it was unpredictable, but it just shows how important it is to be looking at the MLS every single day. For me to be talking to the lenders, and I'm not talking about talking to one lender, I talk to like 5 different lenders every single week. And I
You're
find out
educating yourself and like seeing it from a different perspective. That's 5 different.
because I have so many different clients that need so many different things. I need like, what is the normal interest rate? What is the rate for duplexes? What is this? What is that? What are the, you know, when hard money and regular interest rates are starting to become so close together,
That's
it's
stupid.
like it's really, for me, what I realized is the number one. We've said forever that part-time agents, you know, whatever, that they aren't going to know, and this is absolutely true. If people are not in the MLS, I go every single day. I look at the MLS every single day. I look at distressed properties almost every single morning. I mean, like, if you're not in the market every single day over these last 6 months, yes, you're getting trampled. People have to realize that things were so hectic that you have to be the ones before the people who can get off for lunch. You have to
Yeah.
be the agent that can be there before the 4 or 5 o'clock because they're going to get off an hour early. We have to be the ones that will go Monday through Friday and not go Saturday and Sunday. And if we are going to be the weekenders, we better be 8 a.m. You know,
Yeah.
for me, it was really about guiding my clients, knowing how hectic the market is. And like you said, kind of with fresh eyes of being like, all right, none of us have done this before. None of us know what we're doing. So we're all
Right, I
just
think
gonna
that's-
try our best.
Yeah, I think that's the cool part about both of you is that the experienced agents sometimes have this filter like, well, we just didn't do it that way 10 years ago or 15 years ago. Well, guess what? Sorry about it, but you're in 2022. That's how you need to do it. You know, you constantly have to reinvent yourself. And like you say, you educate yourself every day. I hope people that have a good chunk of experience that listen to you and say, all right, what got you here today is not going to get you there tomorrow, right? So what made you successful the last 10 or 15 years in real estate is not going to allow you to be successful in the next 15 years. And that's an interesting, both a perspective of agents that they kind of just sit back on the couch and say, oh, well, when this market shifts, I'll get back in the market. It's never going to shift back the way that it was. That's the thing that I don't think some agents are getting in their mindset correctly. So absolutely. So you definitely think that that's a part of it, is just staying connected and realize that the market was always crazy. So you have to just keep shifting, pivoting, and be in the market all the time.
Yeah. And then as far as like mindset goes, I would say like for me, because my mindset's changed. My mindset changed when I realized the interest rates were so great and I got the perfect spiel and I can say all of this and I can get all of this, to where I did have a week. Maybe even longer, where I was deeply concerned. I was like, I don't even know what to say.
I think I was there that week. You were like, I think I was there that week. You were standing and walking around. I had a coaching, and you were like, "The sky is falling, chicken literally." Like I was like, "What is happening to today?"
Because if I don't believe it, how am I supposed to?
Sell it.
If I need to calm my anxiety down for me to be able to calm other people's anxiety down. So for me, it was more so about coming up with solutions. Okay, well, what are we going to do? Who am I going to focus on? What type of clients am I going to focus on now that there has been a shift? And then like, where do I put my energy at? You know what I mean? And I kind of had to reevaluate. Obviously, my spiel is going to be different because the market is different. Therefore, because the market is different, the clients that I'm going after are going to be different.
Which is funny you say that, because I'll talk to agents and they're saying the same spiel from 3 months ago. I'm like, why are you continuing to say that? That's not even number one accurate, true, and it's bad information. That's what you said 3 months ago is not even close to how the market is today, you know?
Right, and that was my hiccup, was not feeling guilty about what I'm saying. I have to figure out a way where I'm being honest and where I'm being sincere, because that's really the only way that I'm able to communicate, and it comes off genuine. So I literally had to.
That's called integrity. You're doing it the right way, right? You're not going to sell, oil to a salesperson. Like you're doing it like, hey, if I have to believe it, I have to tell you, then you have to believe it too. So I love that. Lindsay, what about you? What do you think the market's shown us in the last 6 months, kind of sliding into maybe a month prior to this? What you were going through your transition and you were getting into production, kind of rolling. What do you think the market has shown us 6 months back?
Okay. So, since I entered, basically in a seller's market, I'm on a different roller coaster. I feel like, I'm changing along with the market, but I'm learning as well as I go. Since I'm a new agent, I'm just,
it's like
taking it day.
Yeah, like you literally are in the market, but then you're trying to educate yourself on what the hell I'm supposed to do every day, right?
Exactly. But see, that's why I have you and Diana. So that's basically what I've been doing, is just, asking for advice. I've been asking Danae for advice, and I'm just like, is it okay for me to say this? But I feel like the most important thing to do, especially as a new agent, is, ask for help. Because for me, this is new. This cycle is new. So I feel like, honestly, what I've noticed is that it's basically stabilizing, it's normalizing for now. But I feel like eventually it's just gonna be, straight buyer's market. Right now it's
trying to get the buyer's market. I think it's going to take a minute to get there, maybe another year, but they're fighting to get back to a buyer's market, like the market's trying to get to a buyer's market.
Right.
Do you with your transaction, are you heavier sellers or heavier buyers the past 6 months? Is it a balance of 50-50? Like with transactions?
Actually, my transactions have been buyers.
Okay. Yeah.
Most of them have been buyers. So I've been more heavy with buyers.
And Danae,
Um,
you are a little bit more like blended. You have a little more seller business, right?
Yeah, I would say it's probably a 70-30. I have more sellers than I do
Right. That's
buyers.
mhm.
So that's
But
also
with
a
this market
completely
change,
different-
I thought that I should change to buyers, and I
I
did
rem-
for a
that's-
couple weeks.
That's the conversation I remember in the office, and you said that. I was like,
Yeah.
hold
and I
on.
did,
That's,
but-
yeah. So that's also a different perspective. Both of you are coming from almost two sides of the coin. Like Danae's much more heavy sellers. Izzy, you're much more buyers. So you're seeing the same market in the last 6 months, but you're seeing it on both other sides of the coin, right? So just when you're negotiating, what the seller needs is the opposite of what the buyer needs, right? So
Mhm.
it's funny to interview you and just think about how your perspective of the market is, because you're kind of working with the opposite human. So that in a way is, I think that's also not to promote a team or not a team. It's also great to be able to be on a team where you guys can compare and contrast. Oh, this is what's going on in the seller world. Just because if you're not dealing with all the sellers, you
Mhm.
honestly don't know that side of the coin, so to speak, because that business is a very different approach. So
Right. Yeah. Well, when I finally got a listing, it was already, the market was already shifting. So it's been sitting, so
dang it,
I didn't,
you're like,
didn't get a slice of the pie. So
yeah, you could have got those sellers that were like making 50,000-70,000 over and all the crazy offers. Yeah. So all right, so what do you think is going to change? So if you had a crystal ball and we're doing the same interview at the end of the year, 2022 is rolling down, we're done, it's almost 2023. What do you think the next 6 months is going to look like? What do you think, knowing what you know, the experience you have previously? I always say you need to go look at history to see if it repeats itself or if it changes, right? So today, what do you think what's going to happen if we were to say, hey, it's December, getting ready to be 2023. What do you think your prediction, if you had a crystal ball, is going to be rolling on for the next 6 months?
So I think that in some areas we've already seen it happening, is that there were too many flips in the same area. So as far as buyer's market, there's already buyer market in certain areas. And I don't think that trend is going to necessarily stop, because I think that there are still new investors that were late to the game, that wanted to list, and then they got their properties and now they're just now about to list come, people that made mistakes, October, November, December,
Yeah.
And then I see people that, got under contract about a month before all of this started. And it slowly, maybe some title stuff had to be worked out, air stuff had to be worked out, and they're just now closing. So that's at least on my end what I'm kind of
So
experiencing.
you're seeing like pockets, right? So still some
Oh,
are
absolutely.
crazy. So you're seeing like
There are
crazy multiple
definitely,
offers, still 30,000 over asking. And you're also seeing, when you're saying the saturated markets, where you're like, all right, now your house is sitting a little bit more. You're actually might get full price, but you're not going to get above asking. You might get 1 or 2 offers. You're not going to get 20 offers. But it's very like inconsistent. Like 2 miles down the road could be this hot, crazy market we've been used to, but then 2 miles forward, it's kind of chilling out. It's more balanced. Is that what you're saying?
right. And so as far as moving forward in the next 6 months, because I am on the investor side, I do know what is coming to, I know what my people are coming down the pipe. And so there's certain projects, I'm not going to lie, I'm a little more concerned about,
Well, maybe you don't do all those upgrades, and maybe you kind of scaled some stuff back.
Right. And so I'm actually
you're not gonna
starting
get
to
the
have
money.
conversations about not having this a $900,000 house. Let's do this as a $800,000 house instead, as far as the finishes and things like that. As far as like how I think things are going to go, I've been getting text messages. I got 2 text messages from 2 different lenders over the last 3 weeks that have said that the 10-year treasury went down. That was a couple weeks ago. And so they said there's a 3 to 4 month delay. So meaning that the interest rates will follow, even if it's not going to be extreme. I am aware of it and trying to at least be hopeful mentally, that like, although the market will probably in my lifetime may not be how it was, or whatever. I don't really care. I don't have to think about that. That's not really what's important.
You can't
But the
control it
point
anyway.
is, right, I'm not worried about it. What I'm worried about is what is about to happen, and how is it going to affect me, and how do I need to navigate now? So
Right.
for me, like I said, I was getting a little scared of listings, and I started gearing towards buyers. And so what I've been doing is, over the last couple months, I've been doing buyers that have still investors, because that's my normal people, but I'm getting more things that need to be rented out, or that are holds, that are downtown. I've got 2 that are right by VCU pending right now, just because that's where my mind is at. Where is my mind? My mind is, what is always going to sell? What are my people always going to need, regardless of the market, and so I kind of do my homework for them. That's why I talk to so many lenders, is because I already have, like, all right, here's the 2 lenders. I have everything set up, because I realize how busy these people are that have money.
Yeah.
And so I do the work, the pre-work for them, and then I give them the CMA, and I take pictures, my own pictures, not the MLS pictures. I take my own pictures, and I give them the rent, about how much it's going to be for rent. And I push them. These people aren't asking me all the time. They're people that have expressed it in the past, and I am doing it because I need to pin things. I need to still live. And while I'm educating myself and utilizing this downtime to get reorganized and to gear back up and get all this suggestions, even from Izzy, about like what's working for her, because I know she's stronger with marketing than I am.
Yeah.
I'm
But I also
too.
think that it's cool that the cool thing about real estate is it's like a lump of clay. You can kind of mold it and make it whatever you need it to be at the moment. So you were in the flipping business, really. You worked with, and now you're seeing a little shift in that. So you're like, let's do holds instead, right? So rent, Airbnbs, things like that. So the cool thing is you could take the same house, and 6 months ago, you would sell it as a flip and make, 50, 60 grand, right? Probably way more than that. Now you can take the same house and hold it, rent it, or Airbnb, and make 100 grand over the same year, right? So you're still showing profitable investment through real estate. You're just taking that and shifting it around. I think that's a good thing.
And communicating, like constantly communicating with these investors, even when I have had several investors say, I'm done for the year.
Because they're scared, and
I got them again, because I'm like, come here, I want to show you this. So
yeah, it's just showing them a different perspective, because I wanted to flip, I wanted to make this much money, and most humans are, if you stick to something and you just keep beating your head up against a brick wall, eventually you get frustrated. What you're trying to show them is there's another way to make money. Like, there's not just one way to do it in real estate, there's multiple ways to do it. So I love that. So Izzy, what do you have to add to that? What do you think, your perspective on kind of the transition of the next 6 months?
Well, pretty much what I'm seeing is interest rates are going higher. And so I've been seeing a lot of objections on the buyers because of the interest rates.
So how are you handling it? Like, what are you saying, or what are you doing to counteract that?
So, what I'm saying is basically you can buy your house now, but the important thing is that it's an investment. And so in a few, if next year the interest rates are low again, then you could just refinance. And so that way you have a low interest rate. But most important thing is that you're not throwing your money away in rentals, because you're renting and you're paying somebody else's mortgage or somebody else's investment. So that's just the way that I see it. And the buyers aren't going to get anything back from that, from the rent that they're giving every month. And most of the time they're losing their deposit, right?
Yeah. Well, and I also think that's funny that you mentioned like interest rates. That's such the talk. We're the only industry that interest rate is like an objection, right? If we go from 5% to 6% to 8%, the world is coming to an end. But if I ask someone how much are they paying on their credit card bill every month, interest, or how much are they paying interest on their car payment, they have no clue how much they pay on their car. Let's just think of a car. You buy a $40,000 car, the interest rate's, let's say 4%. Well, now the car is going down in value. So it was 40,000, it's 30,000, it's 20,000. So you're going down in an asset. So you do take the same house at the same 4% interest rate as your car payment loan, but it's increasing 3, 4, 5, 6%. It's actually going up in value. It's crazy to me that we've come, and this is a culture that's been around for 20 years, 25. People have been talking about interest rates in the 80s, double digits, right? Why, for some reason, everybody's fixated on that interest rate. And I think it's good that you're trying to show them, like, the interest rate is a movable object. Like, you can refinance, you can sell, nobody stays in their house 30 years anymore, right? So I think that's great that you're counteracting with, you still got to do what you still got to live, you still got to buy, you still got to upsize, downsize. Life happens regardless of what the interest rates are doing. So that's huge. Good.
Yeah, exactly. So I had a buyer whom is actually under contract now, and he was literally ready to terminate the contract because his interest rate was 5.9. And I said to him, well, here are your options. You can either, we can see if you can buy down points, or if you can do a 15-year loan. With 15-year loans, the interest rates are lower. So he decided to go with a 15-year loan at 4.78%. So
good for you giving them those options. And because again, it's really about education, you guys being educated so you can educate your client. Like, I will tell you, experienced agents that have been in the business 10 years, advice you just gave that client is not always something that they think of or suggest. So good job for doing that. So, well, I wanted to kind of the last couple questions before we hop off is I wanted to basically, there's a lot of agents that are going to be watching this that have experience, but I love the reverse of it. Like, you're sitting down with an agent, cup of coffee, they've been in the business 20 years and they're stressed about this market. They're nervous about, I literally sat down with someone a week ago and she's like, I've been doing this 20 years. I'm freaking out because my leads are drying up. The interest rates are rising. And this person has been through a couple cycles. So Izzy, I want you to take it first, but like, what advice would you give someone that's been in the business for a minute and just give them a fresh perspective of like how they should navigate this changing market? Because it's not a market anyone's ever seen, whether you've been in the business 20 minutes or 2 months. What is your advice to someone that has experience that maybe is fearing, having fear set into their mindset?
So what I've seen is, so what I've been doing, and that's how I got most of my buyers, I've been doing live videos on Facebook.
Oh, yeah.
I've been marketing myself like I'm crazy. Something I wouldn't have done in the past because I'm a little shy person, but ever since doing this, it's like it helps me, has helped me grow out of that shell or that comfort zone. So you're gonna have to get out of your comfort zone and do things that you don't want to do. Go to events, attend networking. The people that you see at the stores, give them your card because you don't know if they need a listing agent or a buyer's agent. So honestly, I feel like buyers, there's always going to be buyers. The listings are always harder to get. It's always easier to get a buyer than it is to get a listing. So just, fill your pipeline with buyers, especially now that the market is starting to shift more favorable to the buyers.
Right.
They're going to get more favorable terms as well on their contracts.
Well, I love your advice to get outside your comfort zone. And I love that you said video because I have been screaming people should be doing video for like, I swear, 5 years before it was a thing. And I hate myself on video. I hate the way I look, hate the way I sound, but this is what I look like and this is what I sound like, so I think that's great advice to someone that's already experienced, that's gone through many cycles. You're gonna have to do something different. And if it's video, I have a lot of older clients. When I say older, like age or experience, they're like, I'm not doing that Facebook stuff, I'm not doing Instagram, I'm not doing TikTok, I'm not doing that. Well, that's where the buyers hang out. The buyers now hang out and the sellers even hang out on social media. So if you're not hanging out in that sandbox, you're not going to actually have the same opportunities.
But you also have to keep in mind that we're selling to millennials now. Most of them are, starting to, well, I'm a millennial. I'm 30.
Yeah.
And I haven't, and it's like they don't buy houses at 20s as much as we advise people to. But
Yeah.
now that they're in their 30s, they're thinking and they're like, but wait a minute, I need to start buying my
Right.
house. What am I doing? So, we
And you
need
got to go where
start-
they are. That's where they hang out.
We
That's where
have to.
30-year-olds hang out. They hang out on TikTok, Instagram. So if you're not playing in that sandbox with them, you're
Mhm.
going to wait for them to just come to your seminar or come to your open house always. That's not how they work anymore. I think that is a huge aha. And it'll be interesting to see when any changing market, a lot of real estate agents leave the market. They just say, wow, this is too hard. Turning my license in, to hell with this. It'll be interesting to see over 3 to 5 years which market of agents leave. Will it be the new agents that are young and fresh and like trying to figure out, or were some of these older agents that are experienced, they're like, I don't want to do this, is too hard to go into this, and those
Yeah.
just quote retire, right? So it'll be
I
interesting.
feel like that would be more of a mix, because being a realtor, it does take a lot of your time and your sacrifice. Well, at least if you really are committed. But if you really want to, be successful and do something with this business, I feel like real estate is probably one of the best decisions that I've made. But not everybody.
And you make a post on social media like a 5-year, you said 5 years. I was really inspired, but you did it tell the post. You did a social media post about 5 years in the future. I wanted to come. I was inspired by that post.
Yeah. So 4 years ago, I was I started working at this company called General Service Corporation. I had worked as a leasing consultant with them 2 years prior to, and I went back to them. But this time, instead of a leasing consultant, I decided to be a customer service representative in the maintenance department. So I was they were interviewing me because I was shifting from one place to another, from one location to another. So this lady, she asked me, she says, well, where do you see yourself in 5 years? And without hesitation, because, first of all, I was a whole lot younger then. I didn't know, too much about interviews and what you should say and shouldn't say. So I said to her, well, I see myself as a successful realtor in 5 years. So she just looked at me and then she just wrote something down. And then she moved on to her next question. Well, when I saw that post
I'm not going to be here in 5 years. Is basically what you just and an interview, which I love. So I just love, the reason I bring that up is I think you manifest what you put out there. What you focus on expands, right? So when you are in an interview 4 years ago, so where you're going to be in 5 years, you're like, I ain't working here. I'll be a successful realtor, and look at, this is where you're at. So I love that, because I think that type of advice or that type of mindset, if you're an experienced agent, I don't know what the market's going to be in 5 years, but both of you said consistently, but I'm going to be in the market in 5 years. I'm not getting out of this business. I've worked too hard. I've done all the things I need to do to be successful. I'm going to keep going. So we don't know if it's a seller's market, a buyer's market in the next 5 years. But as you said, but I'm going to be here. I'm going to make this happen. So that's huge.
Mm-hmm.
So then, what would be your piece of advice to someone that has experienced maybe freaking out?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we're talking to me?
Yeah, Danae. Did I say it's Cesar?
Yeah.
Okay.
You guys look so similar. No, just kidding.
So I was just gonna say that we have to, and it's very similar, piggybacking off of what she was saying, we have to realize that people's attention span are very, very low, so if we are going to do anything, whether that's social media, whether that's a postcard, whether that's anything that we do, needs to be very quick and very obvious and very to the point, because social media has made our attention span so low that we just need to be aware of that. I think, at least for me, I have ADD,
simple.
right?
Keep it simple. Keep the message simple. Don't draw things out. I mean, I heard that had the average of 15-second attention span, and now it's 6 to 7. So
I heard,
because literally we're TikToks are all right, 12 seconds done. Moving this, reels, everything we're doing is, so if it's that high impact and simple, I don't remember it. I'm bothered by it. I swipe left, right. I'm done with you. right?
And so I think that that translates. I was going to say, know your freaking weaknesses. I know that my weakness is marketing. I'm horrible at marketing. Everybody else is getting these people overseas to do their stuff. Guess what? As much as I don't want to do that, or I don't even know why. I mean, I don't even know why I don't want to do it. But I'm not good at it, and I need to just release that, because I am aware enough to know that and I'm only 31, and if I at 31 am already feeling behind the ball, feeling like I need to catch up, I don't know all this marketing stuff, I can only imagine how realtors that have been in the market for so long, how they feel. It's overwhelming. It is overwhelming.
Technology in the last 5 years, crazy.
So
Marketing
for me, instead of
crazy,
quitting,
so I'm
I
sure
have to realize, I'm sorry, I think there might be a delay. Sorry.
No, that's good. I think is know your weaknesses, know your strengths, and hire somebody. You don't have to be the marketing expert. There's plenty of people that you can
Yeah,
pick.
and I feel like, at least, like, I understand, like, I used to say, like, go back to what works, like the basics, whatever. And so I guess for people that have been in the market a long time, the basics are going to look different. They might be the basics, but again, like she said, get out of the comfort zone. Anything that's comfortable is just not going to work for me anymore, you know?
Yep.
And so for me, like, I have been going to like investor meetups, and like there's like 4 a month at least. And so if I miss the first, and I go to the second, then I go to the next one, and I go to the next one. But that, like, these little things that I'm doing, I know that I'm shy. So I know that I'm also not doing marketing. So, or I'm not doing the online stuff that I should be doing.
Yes.
So for one, I have to hold myself accountable and be like, all right, it's time to source out, because it doesn't matter how long I wait. I'm never going to feel, I haven't felt comfortable within the last.
You're never going to be, yes, you're never going to be.
I haven't felt comfortable, and
You're never going to be ready.
Yeah.
And I don't know about anybody else, how they were raised, but I was very much so raised, don't brag. So I was it was very hard for me to figure out the marketing stuff, and it continues to be a thing.
Well,
So
because
for me,
so many realtors do it badly. Let's just be honest. They brag, and it's ego, and it's exhausting. So you have to find your way of telling your story, telling your narrative, right? But I think so I'll ask you one final question to wrap up, because we are pretty much out of time, but I do find it interesting. Agents that I've coached for years that have become successful and really continue to build momentum, almost all of them are introverted extroverts. Like, they actually don't like to ask for business. They don't like to network. They don't like to be in large groups, but they push through it anyway, right? They find a way to network their way. They figure out what social media platform works for them. They figure out how they build their community of referrals. But a most very common thing is, you think realtors are like so extroverted. They like want to like hang out with 100 people every day. A lot of successful salespeople are both like, just like what you both were saying, it's like not natural. You have to push yourself to like talk to people at the grocery store, talk to people at the gas station, right? Because I think that's a very common theme that I've coached and interviewed hundreds of agents over the years. I think that's important for these experienced agents to hear is, again, when I said, like, what got you here today is not going to get you there tomorrow. You got to get out of your comfort zone. If you're introverted, you're going to have to put yourself out there a lot more than in the past, because if the market changes, there's fear people shrink out of the market, whether it's sellers or buyers. So being purposeful and intentional rather than flying by the seat of your pants. Yes, absolutely. So anything I didn't ask you, any last advice? Success stories, kind of your final kind of piece of advice to be successful in this business, you must do what today?
I feel like you need to push
You have to push
every day. Yes. So, you have to set up your days. Like, how are you going to start your day? How are you going to end your day? So, most of the times I come to the office and I try to make phone calls. Sometimes some days in the week I go door knocking. I haven't been this past few weeks because I've been busy, but I have been door knocking, especially, now I feel like, you're going to have more time now to go door knocking.
And I love that you're saying that now, because July, August, agents sometimes get a little tired and they're on vacation and it's summer and the kids are home and all that. But you're like saying you need to push now. Like now is the
Mhm.
time to push. Don't wake up in August or September and be like, oh crap, now I need to push. Because it'll probably be too late, honestly, for the rest of the year. So
Mhm.
push
Mhm.
would be your advice. Danae, what's your kind of final piece of advice to really continue to be successful going into this last leg of the year?
So one thing that has kept in my mind since I joined the brokerage was move units and don't worry about pay, don't worry about anything. All I worry about is I worry about being the best human I can be. So if that means that somebody comes to me and they want a rental, then I will help them to the best of my ability without taking too much of my time. If they come to me and they're looking for a car, I am the source of a source. So I have kind of gotten my mindset into I'm here to help. And if somebody needs my help, it doesn't really matter which area of their life they need my help in. I will Google a phone number. If you want
Right.
me to Google a phone number, I'll be the social worker. That has been what helped me, has been just kind of not thinking too much and just really just trying to be my authentic self, which is just to help them with whatever they need. And when they remember that, and you know, it leads back to real estate at some point.
Yeah, it's giver's gain. You give, though you'll gain.
And then they
more
call me for
clients
other
to
things,
leave. Yeah.
and it's random people on the streets. I mean, I can't tell you over the last 4 months how many people I have, relationships, all sorts of different things that they talk to me about. I mean, all different
Yeah,
ethnicities.
you're like
all
a
different
therapist, a
people
priest, a counselor.
are,
It's weird. Yeah.
and I don't mind sending that out because of sending, and it's normally just phone numbers. It's normally just whatever it is. Oh, you want to know this recipe? It's very, very simple stuff that where I'm not really talking about real estate as much. I'm more so just trying to be myself and then just be the source of a source of like, here you go, I'll help you. And so my mindset as far as like door knocking, any of this stuff, even as far as marketing, I am such an introvert and I do have such problems with bragging and stuff like that. I have to really tell myself I'm helping them. So if I'm helping them, what information am I giving them? Am I saying just sold or am I giving them information? So what I try to do with everything that I do as far as my clients, I am educating myself. I am getting them information. I am being the source. I am helping people. That's all I'm trying to do. If people don't want my help, okay, I'll go to this person who wants my help. So my mindset.
No,
of
I love that
knowing
because I think you can never force people to buy something. Like it's not like it's sitting on a shelf and they're just going to pick it up. You know, they're going to decide if they're going to buy it or sell that product, right? But I love you're the local economic choice. Like you're literally restaurants, you know, anything and everything you're recommending. We live in a community. We live in a house and a bed and we cook in our kitchen, but you got to get your hair done. You got to get the oil change. You got a babysitter. You got all the things that are attached to a house to live. And you're approaching it from, I'm going to help you with all the stuff, including the house, but I'm going to help you live a better life and a little bit easier. So I think that's a huge way to be successful. So awesome. Well, great. Well, thank you guys. I love this. This was so helpful for me. I interview and coach a lot of different people, but I just love your guys' energy and approach to business. Dude, if we could interview in 5 more years, I can't wait for that interview because you guys are killing it now. And what you guys are putting out there is going to be even better going into the next 3 to 5 years. So congratulations on your success. Thank you for your time. I know you guys are both very busy people. And everybody, thanks for having time with us here. And if they're watching it afterwards, take lots of notes because you guys dropped some good nuggets. I appreciate you both. All right. Well, have a great week. Whatever's left of it, go make some money. All right. Bye, everyone.